Hey there, podcast lovers. Looking for a fresh take on the world? Tune into Nikki's World, where we dive into everything hitting the headlines and chat about just what's on our minds. No filters, just real talk. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or unwinding after a long day, Nikki's World is your go-to for genuine commentary on the real world. Subscribe now if you want to hear the real deal on what's going on. Join the conversation on Nikki's World, where every episode feels like catching up with an old friend. Don't miss out.
What's up, y'all? Let's do this.
Oh, hi guys, welcome to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host, and today, guys, we gotta talk about self-defense because, quite frankly, guys, the leftist, anti-ICE cult, the Andes and Brandies of Antifa, the Democrats and liberals, they're all getting violent, they're all getting terroristic, and I got one example of why we need to take self-defense seriously. But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I am on Ko-fi, guys. If you guys want to support, sponsor, donate, tip, and commission me for a photo shoot. If you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, please hit that like, subscribe, please give me a review, good, bad, and the ugly. Also, guys, I do have a bunch of affiliate links to go through. First off is minds.com. Minds.com is a Connecticut-based social media platform. They are an awesome alternative to Facebook. So if you guys value your right to freedom of speech like I do, and you guys want to be able to say stuff without the left being able to censor, silence, and deplatform you, well then, ladies and gentlemen, head on over to my friends at minds.com. So, guys, I do have the most awesome, and I mean the most awesome affiliate link with Burner. Burner is the less lethal self-defense company, guys. They make their top-of-the-line Burner SD, Burner LE, PCR, Mission 4, and their newest, guys, their compact launcher. So if you guys value your right to the Second Amendment, your right to self-defense, but you guys want to do it in a less lethal manner, well then, guys, head on over to my friends at burner.com. And full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, I own a Burner LE pistol myself. And finally, guys, if you know somebody out there who needs to wear adult diapers, who needs to be put in adult diapers like I am, guys, Well then, send them on over to my friends at North Shore Medical Supply because at North Shore Medical Supply, they have the top of the line North Shore Megamax diaper, North Shore Supreme pull-up, their North Shore Supreme diaper, and their Turner boosters. So if you know somebody out there who needs to wear adult diapers and who needs to be put in adult diapers, well then, folks, send them on over to my friends at North Shore Medical Supply, and they will make sure that they are diapered up and padded up as always. And before we get this show on the road, literally, guys, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nikki's World, seriously, y'all, can you please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today? Wow, that was a mouthful. And that was a mouthful. And yes, guys, I am diapered up as always in my North Shore Megamax diapers with my turn up boosters and my onesies from Little Comforts. So, quite frankly, guys, I'm diapered up, padded up. Let's get on with the show, shall we? So here's the scenario, guys. You guys are at, like, say, some coffee shop, some diner, some gas station, and you dress like everyone else, and all of a sudden you get this lunatic lefty who thinks you're a federal agent or an ICE agent, takes a like whips out his flimsy camera phone and shoves it up to your face, calling you Fed, or ICE agent, and all that. But you don't even look remotely like one of those people. But you're just an average Joe Blow schmo on the block, just minding your own business and grinding through life. And all of a sudden, you get this lunatic leftist shoving a phone up your face, calling you a Fed. And then all of a sudden, a mob shows up. What do you do there, ladies and gentlemen? What do you do in that situation? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, for me, I tell them to back off. I ain't no Fed. I ain't no ICE agent. I'm just a nobody. But they keep accusing you of being an ICE agent or a leftist because the way you dress or the way or a certain car that you drive. I'm gonna tell you what. Here's what I would do, ladies and gentlemen. My burner LE is at the hip, which is always in the holster. Or since I off-body carry my bag, whip out my bag to the side, and I tell them like this: back off. I ain't a federal agent. I ain't an ICE agent. I ain't a Fed. And if they still keep approaching, unzip my off-body bag, okay? My burner LE comes out, looks at them and I tell them straight up, back off. I ain't a Fed. Back off. And I keep saying it loudly. And if they keep approaching, or if one of them approaches, tries to shove his like camera phone in front of my face, click the safety off the burner from safe to fire. Fire 2 of kinetic to their chest, and that would back them off. But if they keep lunging forward, my last 3 rounds are burner max rounds, which have pepper and tear gas. They suck on that, they would literally be choking for 45 minutes while I get in my car and flee. That is that simple. And that is how I would protect myself and defend myself. Okay? So in that scenario, guys, and in that scenario, the way that I told you that scenario, guys, is that this is how the anti-ICE left is doing to people today. The anti-ICE left cult, left liberal, Andy, Brandy, Tifas of Vantifa, Democrats and liberals, they're all going around right now trying to hunt down federal agents and harassing them, doxing them, or bullying them. and they're going around after anyone today who is being accused of, oh, you look like a Fed, you look like the Fed, you look like a Fed. They're all pointing fingers at everyone going, Fed, 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 Fed. But the problem is, guys, these people are attacking the wrong person. These people are attacking the wrong group. And what these lunatic leftists don't fucking understand, ladies and gentlemen, when these people hit the wrong person and the wrong group, they get their ass knocked upside the head. They're going to get beat up so badly that they're going to cry to their legacy media friends and go, look at this guy. He paid me because I was trying to hunt down fans. Well, because you know why? You were intruding on his life. You were intruding on his daily grind. And then you accusing him of being a Fed when he doesn't even look like them? Yeah. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this many times on my show. People need to arm up. People need to carry a gun. Okay? Because the way these leftists are today, there's no wiggle room anymore. There's no wiggle room. And by what I mean by carry a gun, guys, if you live in the States, okay, if you live in a state that allows you to conceal carry, that has stand your ground laws, great, carry one. If you live in a state that doesn't have that, but lets you carry less lethal options like pepper spray or less lethal weapons like my burner LE, carry it because at least you have something to defend yourself and give yourself time to escape, okay? Because I'm going to tell you this right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to say this right now, is that the left has become very violent. The left has become very terroristic right now. They're basically the junior varsity of ISIS and Al Qaeda. They're basically the JV versions of them. And they're getting to be the domestic versions of those people. Okay? Give you an example. And I got this one article. Okay? Let's highlight this one article. All right? This comes from the Daily Caller. Mass ISIS thugs assault reporter at illegal Minneapolis roadblock. Okay? And right here, in the main, in the headline from this, anti-deportation activists assault the Daily Caller News Foundation reporter George Ventura appeared to try stealing from him Monday while forming a roadblock to keep federal agents out of a neighborhood. Yeah, so these anti-ICE activists have set up roadblocks to try to prevent like federal agents from taking their illegals, the ones that are violent criminals, thugs, mentally ill, or like wanted criminals from their own country. They're trying to protect them because it's their voting bloc that keeps them in power. All right, but they're setting up roadblocks just to prevent them. But those roadblocks are illegal. Those roadblocks aren't legit. But these leftists think that they are legit, but in reality, they're not. So you don't have to stop for these roadblocks. You could just drive right past them. You could just pedal to the metal and just say like this, screw you. And if they try to do anything, you have your gun. Or if you're in a state that you can't carry a gun but have a less lethal item, you have your burner right with you, and at any time they want to get violent in front of you, you put it right at them, and they flee like rats, and they literally do. That's why now, with the way the left is becoming violent, terroristic, I implore all my listeners to carry, okay, conceal carry. If you can't carry a gun, pepper spray is the naked basic minimum. But if you can carry something like a less lethal burner or a gun, that is like in the middle. It's like the Goldilocks, but the more desirable is a gun. So if you can't carry a gun, but you can't carry a pepper spray because you think it's too weak, my burner LE is the perfect medium, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Goldilocks zone between a gun and a pepper spray. And hitting these guys at 60 feet gives me the standing distance to escape the threat. It gives me that cushion that once I hit them with with pepper and tear gas and they're coughing on the ground, I can bolt the fuck out of that scene real quick and call the cops and say, hey, I was driving by and these leftists set up an illegal roadblock, tried to stop me. I got out of my car. They tried to go up in my face. I hit them with a burner LE. Here's where they stopped at the roadblock, and here's where I'm at. Simple as that. The fact of the matter is, guys, the left is becoming very violent, very terroristic. And I got this one article here too. From Gateway Pundit, ICE Wars. Minneapolis insurgents set up barricades, block cars, runs license plate, check IDs. Insurgents in Minneapolis barricaded several streets this weekend with ICE filter checkpoints, stopping cars to check license plate and IDs to prevent federal immigration enforcement operations. Read you this headline. Minneapolis Crime Watch posted photos from Sunday's neighborhood ICE block party with details and the plea from local governments to do something. Submitted from South Minneapolis, agitators set up roadblocks and are checking people's IDs who try to pass through the area from 32nd to 34th and Cedar Ave. This is absurd. So basically, you got these insurgents, which basically encompasses what? Anti-ICE cult members, lefties, liberals, Democrats, Andes and Brandy Tifas of Antifa. You got all these leftist insurgents who are setting up roadblocks in neighborhoods trying to impede, obstruct federal law enforcement. I'm telling, and basically creating havoc in the neighborhood and community by saying to everyone, like, you have to submit this and this and this. I'm gonna tell you what, you don't have to submit to that and that. That's where my burner LE would come out and say, back off. Yeah, back off. That's where it would come off. Because the fact of the matter is, guys, these leftists are trying to cause a civil war in this country. These leftist insurgents are trying to cause basically political violence, okay? They already have their two martyrs that died. They're gonna try to create more. But the fact of the matter is, guys, people like you and me who have no skin in the game, who don't give a shit what's going on with immigration other than to get illegals out of the country, they're causing mayhem. They're causing violence. They're obstructing, impeding. They're basically getting into your face of anyone who even remotely looks like a federal agent. The fact of the matter is, guys, these leftist insurgents have no authority to block a road. They do not have the legal authority to do it. And you do not have to stop at these checkpoints. You could just drive right through. And if you ever encounter one of these checkpoints, ladies and gentlemen, I suggest you film them. I suggest you take pictures, document them, but always have your gun right on your holster. Or like me, I like to off-body carry mines. I carry mine in my gun case bag off body, so if I need to, I could just whip it out like this and point it right at them in self-defense. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, these leftist insurgents are getting more and more violent. They are getting more and more violent, and some of them are even trying to get guns, which, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, none of them can't pass an FBI background check. None of them can't even pass a background check to get a gun. Because some of them have, like, what? Criminal records. Some of them have been committed to, like, mental institutions or psychiatric facilities, which they have to report to law enforcement. So if they have that kind of record, they can't get a gun. Okay? They can't even own one. And some of them, like the Andes and Brandy Tiefers, basically can't even get one because here's the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. Lying on a federal form can get you thrown in prison. Lying on a federal form, the ATF form, to buy a gun can get you thrown in prison for that. For me, on the other hand, I have a clean record. I can carry a gun. I have a pistol permit in the state of Connecticut. I have a concealed carry pistol permit. Okay? I can carry one. But for me, I choose to carry a burner because it's my EDC. It's my everyday carry. It's my just in case if I'm surrounded by these leftist insurgents and I need a way to escape these leftist insurgents, my burner LE comes out and basically makes these people scatter like rats. It makes them. Because I'm going to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a civil war situation. We're in a warm civil war. It'll take one incident to turn this warm civil war into a hot one. And I'm telling you, the way these leftist insurgents are going about it, we are getting close to it. We are getting so close to it that it ain't even funny. Okay? It ain't. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I tell people, prepare to defend yourself. Conceal carry if you can. If you live in those states that allow you to open carry, and I believe Florida and Texas is one of them, get one. Okay? If you live in those states, all right? If you live in those states that have strong, like, self-defense, stand your ground laws, by all means. But if you live in a blue state like I do in Connecticut, where they don't have a strong self-defense, strong castle doctrine, or strong stand your ground laws, but you want to conceal carry, but you know if you use your 9mm, your Glock, your Smith and Wesson and SIG, you could wind up going to jail or prison for the next 10, 20 years. Yeah, you can. If you use it improperly in a self-defense case, especially at a riot, protest, or an illegal leftist insurgent checkpoint. Yeah, safest option, ladies and gentlemen, and I say this as the safest option, is less lethal. Less lethal like a burner pistol. Okay? Less lethal. Because I'm gonna tell you why. At least with a burner pistol in a less lethal shooting incident, you have the wiggle room. You have a leeway in court. You could be able to say, Your Honor, these people who were setting up an illegal checkpoint and tried to impede, block people, and block traffic, I had to take out my burner because they were coming up in my face. And you know what? My burner gave them a sting instead of a bullet hole. Yeah. And the jury will eat that up like no tomorrow. You'll be able to walk out scot-free. yeah, you'll be able to walk out so free that they'll be able to say, yeah, he used less lethal. He didn't have to resort to using a gun. That's why I tell even the pro Second Amendment crowd, yes, it is great to have a gun. Okay? It is great. But in certain situations, when you're dealing with leftist agitators, like the leftist insurgents, less lethal is going to be your best defense. Okay? If you live in a red state that has strong self defense laws, but if you live in a blue state, in a restricted state, your burner is going to be your best option other than to flee to red states. Yeah, your burner is going to be your best option. Because I'm going to tell you this, as someone who carries a burner LE, okay, and I carry it with me no matter where I go, because you never know. God for fucking bid that you go to, like, say, some coffee shop, some general store, some mall, or some shopping center, and you dress like a normal person, okay, and some lunatic leftist insurgent thinks you're a Fed or some federal law enforcement, you know, and then all of a sudden he or she calls a mob and tries to surround you. At least with a banner, you have wiggle room to escape that situation. You have wiggle room. Banner not only makes pistols, they make rifles like their TCR and their Mission 4. Their Mission 4 carries like what, 19 rounds? So you can conceivably carry 19 rounds of kinetic and less lethal and still give them a sting that's the equivalent of getting hit from a Red Sox or Yankees or Dodgers pitcher, pretty much. And they're still going to be alive, but they're going to be coughing all like for 45 minutes, and they're going to have like a bruise like no tomorrow for weeks on end. But I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, is that we need to act like we're in a civil war situation with these lunatic leftist insurgents. We need to be able to prepare to defend ourselves in this situation. Self defense is going to be paramount this year. It pretty much is. Because if you look at how the left is acting and behaving and trying to get into anybody's face who they think looks like a Fed, as someone like a regular common Joe Blow schmo who basically is trying to get through life and trying to grind on through without like the hassle of these lunatic, mentally ill leftist insurgents, having my burner LE is my insurance policy and also my escape, my avenue of escape. It's basically being able to say like this: I could prepare to defend myself when the time comes. And if that time comes and I'm caught up in a situation like that, like the one in Minneapolis where you have leftist insurgents like posting like checkpoints or border walls, which I'm like laughing, like going like this. I thought they hate walls. I thought they hate borders. You know, I thought they hated that. Yeah. Uh, if they're setting that up all of a sudden in a neighborhood that you're trying to get through and they're impeding and blocking, you got every right to remove these lunatic idiots. You got every right to tell them to scram. Okay. In some states where if they're gonna get into your face, but you can't use your 9mm, your Glock, or your AR-15 because they restrict how you use it, my burner LE, TCR, or Mission 4 would come out real quick, and it would make these lunatic lefties think twice. Or as they say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah, the fact of the matter is, my burner would be an equalizer. It would de-escalate it so fast that these lunatic lefties would think twice. On top of that, guys, burner makes a powerful pepper spray round too. They make a powerful pepper spray, okay? And I ain't kidding you. I ain't kidding you. They make a powerful defensive spray. And here's the kicker, guys. Here's the kicker. Burner makes a less lethal shotgun round. So if any one of you carries a 12 gauge shotgun or a pump shotgun, you got options of carrying a less lethal shotgun round. And I'm telling you right now, boy, that will literally end them in one stroke. That will literally end them. Because I'm telling you, that shotgun pointed at them with a less lethal 12 gauge shotgun round pointed right at them, that'll de-escalate them in less than half a second. That'll make them think twice and hard real quick. Because the impact of getting hit by that is like the equivalent of getting hit from a Yankees baseball pitcher with a ball going like the equivalent of like almost like what 90 to 110 miles an hour right at their chest. Yeah. But this is why, guys, less lethal is going to be your Goldilocks option to defend yourself against these violent lefties, these violent insurgents, okay? These lunatic, mentally retarded lefties who have no life, no skill, no knowledge. They're theater kids with limited ability, and they're people with pronouns and blue or green hair who have no skill or life whatsoever. My burner LE is going to be a great equalizer. It's going to be like self-defense tool. And if I'm ever caught in like say a protest by these lunatic lefties, and I'm say what I'm at like my coffee shop or like my general store in town, and all of a sudden you see a lefty group trying to do a roadblock or like an ice watch block, which is illegal, and they're trying to tell off people who don't want to be involved in their bullshit, but they're blocking their access. That's why my burner LE, ladies and gentlemen, would come in handy. My burner LE, folks, would end that roadblock in less than half a second. I tell people like this: if I were to buy that Mission 4 or that TCR, it would end them instantly. I would keep the Glock at home. The Glock would just be for home defense. Okay? The Glock, the shotgun, the AR-15, or my personal favorite, guys, the M1A SOCOM, the Scout Squad, that would be used just to protect the home. But my EDC everyday run of the mill carry would probably be my burner LE, and if I get enough money, I'd probably get the TCR for my Subaru Forester as well, because that would surely make them think twice. That would surely say back off. And if these lefty insurgent retards get any closer, boy, that pepper ball round, that burner max round, which has what? Pepper and tear gas, along with the kinetic round, it would force them to think twice. It would force them to like say, hey, let's rethink what you want to do. You want to act stupid and retarded? Here's the one person that's going to end your stupid mental retarded bullshit right then and there. It's pretty much simple. My burner guys, my burner and all the burner products guys out there, they're not designed to kill. They're designed to de-escalate the situation, give enough room to escape, and basically cause these guys to have some sort of pain compliance by saying, okay, let's back off, let's rethink this through, okay? This is why I tell a lot of people, burners are going to be your best option when dealing with these leftist insurgents. Yeah, and anytime these lefties decide to bring a gun or a pistol or a rifle to a protest, this is when law enforcement should literally arrest these people and take away their gun rights permanently. Because if you want to bring a gun to a protest, you're the one causing the violence. You're the one that's causing the political violence and the violent political rhetoric. You're the one that needs to be thrown in prison and the one that needs to be put in some mental facility and be banned from owning a gun for the next, I don't know how long you're alive on this third rock from the sun. But for me, ladies and gentlemen, I carry my Brother LE and it's much more safer. It's much more of the Goldilocks zone, okay? It's between like what? Those pepper sprays, okay? Pepper sprays only have what, 6 feet? Whereas a gun has unlimited feet, but my burner LE has like a 50 has like 60 feet distance. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, at 60 feet, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to stop a leftist insurgent real quick. That's going to put a lefty insurgent in their place. And as for carrying it, guys, I know burner LEs like mine is a little bulky, a little bigger, a little harder to conceal. Okay, a little harder to conceal carry, but I can conceal carry it in my Maxpedition bag. I have a Maxpedition gun case bag with an American flag. I don't put my last name or branch of service I'm in. I don't for security reasons, but I put an American flag on there. Okay, I'll have some like morale type patch on there, but not an American, not my last name or branch. Yeah, but I will have my burner LE in my bag along with what, a spare magazine, a spare magazine with what, burner max and kinetic, because I always have two kinetic and 3 max rounds. The first 2 kinetic rounds are for pain compliance. You're just telling them to back off. And if they continue to lunge at me, they're going to get hit with a 6-foot cloud of pepper and tear gas. And when they get hit with that, they're going to be on the ground, coughing, and their eyes are going to be watering. It's going to be hard for them to breathe because that tear gas hits their lung. They're going to be on the ground sobbing, crying faster than you hit them with a pepper spray. Because pepper spray, you're spraying that cloud at 6 feet, and that could come into your face. Whereas burners like the burner SD, the burner LE, and the compact launcher, you got distance. You got like that feet between the leftist insurgent and you. And if you stop them at, like, say, 60 feet, that gives you enough room to run and escape from these insurgents. It does. Best reason for all this, guys? You don't become another Kyle Rittenhouse or or Daniel Penny. Remember Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny who defended themselves or who took out a violent threat but ended up killing the guy? You don't have to spend thousands of dollars an hour to have a lawyer defend you in court in a self-defense shooting incident with a regular gun. Having less lethals like Burner, you literally just walk away from the incident and let them stand there coughing and puking while they're trying to hack out all that tear gas and pepper that they faced. That to me would be a better option instead of having to think about spending 15 to 20 years in prison for defending myself with a Glock or an AR-15. If I defend myself with a burner, literally, the jury will eat that up every day and say, "Well, yeah, he didn't kill the guy. He hit him with a burner and he got like what, welts and had to choke on pepper and tear gas." Yeah, at least the lefty insurgents survived, not dead. Yeah. So to me, that's a better option, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why I tell people, having a burner is gonna save you. Having a burner is going to protect you. Okay. Yes, there are less lethal pepper sprays out there or bear spray, but the distances are short. You got to be up close. Me having my burner, in which, guys, I carry it in orange for a particular reason, is because that way, if some Joe Blow Schmo idiot sees me pointing my burner out in a self-defense shooting incident, instead of them calling the cops saying, "Oh, he's got a gun," when they see that orange color, that denotes it as a less lethal. It's a universal color, and less lethal weapons, guys, are sometimes in different colors, but the universally understood color for less lethal is yellow and orange. Having that, guys, gives you the legitimacy of saying, "Hey, I didn't whip out my Glock in defense, but I whipped out my burner in self-defense and made that leftist insurgent think twice before she, or it acted stupid." And that's why, guys, banks are going to be your best weapon against leftist insurgents. And for all those pro Second Amendment, pro gun types, look, I love the Second Amendment. I love being pro gun, but there's a time and a place in a situation where you don't need gun. It's great to have it, but that gun should be your last line. You're in the corner with no way of escaping. You're facing sudden imminent death. Where having that gun will give you at least the last line of defense. Okay? That burner having to deal with lunatic lefties, ladies and gentlemen, will be your great equalizer. It'll be your great equalizer. I carry 5 rounds of this in here in my burner LE. There are other magazines out there that carry 7 rounds, but 5 rounds is sufficient enough to make someone think twice. It's enough to make them think long and hard. It's basically deterrence. And deterrence is key, ladies and gentlemen. Deterrence is key. This basically deters them from doing something stupid, from acting irrational. This basically forces them to think real hard, think critically, and think logically before they mess themselves up, before they fuck themselves over. And for people like me who carry, this gives me the confidence, guys, to defend myself when the time comes. It's basically an insurance policy, and like a fire extinguisher for in case your house is caught on fire. It's like an insurance policy for when situations like that happen. All right, I can carry this wherever I go. Okay, the 12 gram CO2 sits in there. Once I click from safe to fire and I pull that trigger, that first round is going out. That first round is going out, and that first round is kinetic. It's a hard plastic ball. That's going out no matter what. Okay? And if they keep coming, the second one's going out. And if they get up and still want to go at it, the last 3 rounds are the pepper and tear gas rounds. And if they get hit by that, they're going to be coughing, wheezing on the floor, like gasping for air, because they just inhaled pepper and tear gas, and their eyes are going to be watery and all that. Yeah. And then when they get hit with that, I'm going to be like a ghost and flee from the situation. To me, guys, that is the best way to defend yourself. That is the best way to protect yourself. And I tell people this, man. If you want to defend yourself when you're encountering these leftist insurgents, if you live in a red state like Texas and Florida, by all means. But if you live in a blue state, like say Connecticut, New York, Oregon, Washington State, or like Massachusetts, but you want to defend yourself against these leftist insurgents, burners are going to be your best option. Burners are going to be your safest options to carry. Now, the compact launcher, guys, which is their newer one, that's concealed carry ability. It shrinks the size of the SD and LE in a compact size, and you can carry that in your hip. You can conceal carry that anywhere. You could put it in your like a glove compartment. Okay, you can carry it like so concealed that nobody knows you're carrying it. But once you pull it out, ladies and gentlemen, it's right then and there, ready to be used. It preaches. But that's why I tell people having a burner is going to be your best insurance policy. And it's basically going to be your escape insurance in case if you are caught up in some like lefty lunatic insurgent. Like, I'll give you an example. There was that recent time where these tech workers were sitting at a diner having lunch. All of a sudden, some lefty insurgent thought they were feds, that they dressed like a federal agent or looked like a federal agent, but then got swamped and swarmed by these lefty insurgents because they thought they looked like federal agents. But the best thing about that, ladies and gentlemen, that situation was caught on camera. People were documenting it. Even them were documenting it. But then they were trying to say, hey, look, I'm not a Fed. I don't look like federal agents. Yeah. And then you got that one in California where this guy who works for the TSA, okay, he's not even a federal agent. He works at the airport, but then they mobbed him, accusing him of being a Fed. Okay? But the problem is these lunatic leftists can't tell the difference between federal law enforcement and just a Joe Blow schmo. They can't. And this is why we're getting to that situation where people on the left will basically accuse anybody of being Fed, even though if they don't have the gear, but the way they dress or a certain car that they drive, you know, it just seems to me these people are mentally unhinged, mentally unstable. And many times, guys, if you have to confront these guys and you have to literally restrain them, I worked in psychiatric hospitals. I know how to restrain these lunatic lefties. There's a course out there. There's a course for like PMT, like physical management training. It teaches you how to de-escalate these leftists, and it teaches you how to defend yourself with hits and blocks like that. And then it tells you how to block these people, and it tells you how to get out of like a hair pull if they're gonna hold your hair. It tells you how to get out of it. Yeah, if you want to take those courses to defend yourself, Google PMT training. There's a lot of agencies out there that teach you how to defend yourself and how to physically restrain someone without actually killing them. Yeah, there is. There are holds. There are holds in psychiatric hospitals that they use that they can hold you down without a restraint chair. Yeah, or they can hold you that you can't be able to like bite at them, or they can't bite you, or they can't spit at you and all that. Yeah, there are holds out there, and I will tell you this: I'm trained. I know how to use it, and basically many times I've had to use it many times. But I will tell you this, guys: if you want to have a way to be able to control the situation and be able to restrain them until law enforcement shows up, get PMT trained, ladies and gentlemen. Get PMT trained, and once you get PMT trained, you'll learn how to de-escalate situations. You'll learn how not to resort to using self-defense methods, or how to restrain them in a way that doesn't kill them. Pretty much, guys. Pretty much. But I will say this, and I will say this, guys. I know we're going to end the show shortly, but I will say this: if you guys want to buy Burner, use my link in the description below. You get 10% off of any sale of Burner, whether it's a Burner SD, Burner LE, TCR, Mission 4, or a compact launcher. And folks, if you're a first responder, like a police, fire, EMS, you also get an additional 10, or military, you also get an additional 10% off. So you ultimately, for those who are first responders, okay, you ultimately get a 20% off on it. And I'm telling you right now, guys, burners are going to be more popular as people are finding out that this is the Goldilocks option. This is the golden middle between pepper spray and a gun. This fits right in the middle, where I don't have to resort to lethal self-defense unless the leftist insurgent has a gun or a knife. But if they don't have a gun, but they're coming towards me, even with a baseball bat or like a placard that they're holding a sign, that Burner LE is going to be my best self-defense. That burner is going to be that gives me that stopping power, and basically gives them that pain compliance of telling them to back off. Pretty much, guys. Pretty much. But that's why I carry my Burner LE. I've even used it when I modeled in the photo shoot. One thing I tell people: less lethals are great as teaching tools too. For those who are pro two-way, pro Second Amendment, a burner is great as a training tool, ladies and gentlemen. Think of this. You can set up a burner range in your backyard and practice all the rules required in a regular gun. You can use it to even train, like for muscle memory, like say for example, like self-defense drills, like even like force on force drills. Because once you learn those become muscle memory, and you can apply it even to a regular gun. But if you keep a less lethal like a burner, ladies and gentlemen, hell yeah, hell yeah, that's gonna be your best weapon. There are places in America that run self-defense drills, that run less lethal courses. Like say, there's one in California I know that runs a burner less lethal course. That it's almost the same as your pistol, like your self defense pistol courses. You know how like after you get your pistol permit, there's the pistol, like defensive pistol 1 and defensive pistol 2. They've taken that and modified it with burners and less lethal. And there are courses out there like that will teach you how to use your burner in a less lethal situation, like when to use it, how to use it, what situations you can be caught up in to use it, and what scenarios that can say, hey man, what scenarios are going to get me caught up in that? What scenarios are going to say, hey, am I going to be caught up in this scenario or in that scenario? They run scenarios with a burner where let's say you're a female, you're walking or jogging, all of a sudden some creep walks behind you, wants to mug, rape, rob, sexual assault, like do sexual assault on you. Having your burner CL, SD, or LE, shit. You could turn around, force that guy to think twice. He lunges, he's going to get a taste of pepper and tear gas right in his mouth, and he's going to be coughing and choking while the girl runs to the nearest store and safe place and tells, "Hey, this guy tried to mug me, try to jump me, try to sexually assault me, and all that shit. I hit him with a burner like like a burner, and he's choking at right at the park. Cops show up, they'll decontaminate him, put him in the county jail cell or in a jail cell, pretty much. And you get to walk home scot free, get to live to tell the tale, get to like talk about it on TikTok or Snapchat or like X or any social media platform. Yeah, you get to live and talk about it, and which is kind of great, and which is why I like it. And that's why I tell people burners are great for women who don't want to carry a gun, but want something that is concealable, less lethal, that gives the stopping power, but not the killing ability, which is great because you want to save them for court. So when they have to stand in front of a judge, jury, and prosecutor and defend themselves for what they did, you let the courts throw the book right at their face. It's pretty much, man. It's pretty much. But before we end the show today, guys, I want to say like this, guys. Today's episode was because looking at what's going on in, say, Portland, Oregon, and Minneapolis, Minnesota, and around a lot of blue states where federal agents are rounding up illegal immigrants and removing illegal immigrants in this country. Today's topic is essentially about like defending yourself against these leftist insurgents who are basically causing mayhem and violence and trying to harass federal agents and going after anyone who looks remotely like them. This episode was basically about that, guys. It's basically giving you the tools to defend yourself, okay? And it's basically saying like this: the tools I have to defend myself are for when the time comes or when I'm caught up in that situation and I need some tool to defend myself and escape from that situation. My burner LE is right there. It is right there for that scenario. And this is why, guys, before we end the show today, if you want self-defense, if you're if you're a resident of Portland, Oregon, or Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Portland, Maine, and you're fucking sick and tired of these leftist insurgents like impeding, obstructing, or disrupting your normal daily life, having less lethal options like burners is going to give you the confidence to defend yourself when it comes to dealing with these leftist insurgents, which is why I implore all my listeners today, if you value self-defense, if you value your right to the Second Amendment, and you want to defend yourself against these leftist insurgents, look into burners immediately. Look into burners. If you want to buy a burner through my link, you guys get 10% off through my link in the description below, guys. So if you guys are interested in it, guys, look into it, guys. Burners are going to be like your best insurance policy for when you have to deal with the violent insurgent left. And when these violent insurgent left want to get nasty and violent in front of you, having a burner will give you that room and distance to escape the violent scenario. It literally will. All right? Well, that was a good long show. That was a great long show today, guys. Man, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. I hope y'all like it. And like I said, guys, if you guys are interested in buying burners, I have an affiliate link with 10% off on a sale of burners in the link in the description below. So if you guys are interested in it, feel free, guys. It helps me out and it helps them out as well. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for listening to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host. Stay safe out there. Stay prepared. And if you do have a burner, make sure you're locked and loaded and ready to defend yourself when the time comes. So I will see y'all guys and have a nice day and bye for now.
You just listened to an episode of Nikki's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.